I've just finished with the indicators. So that's what I took. I took all four off. That's standard Triumph indicators. That was what left on my left side one. Then I had a little bit of a shunt, and you probably can't even spot the indicators now. I'll switch them on in a moment. I went through my knick-knacks, things I've nicked and things I've knackered. I've got some old LED ones, so put the hazards on so they all work at once. There we go. Super bright. And the rear ones tucked nicely out of the way. And the front ones likewise are tucked pretty well out of the way. Now, I didn't spend a fortune. These are not the £180, I can't remember who made them. These are not the really expensive ones that a lot of people seem to fit the Triumph. These were £10 cheap Chinese things. And they work just fine, in my opinion. So there's a little modification, which I've sort of half thought about doing anyway, but I've done it now. And when of course they're not lit up, you can't even see them, you can barely spot the things. What have I done, and how did I do it? Well, now the standard Triumph indicators, I'd already modified the position on them. On the rear I used this isn't the actual bracket, but I used the Motone tail tidy bracket. Now that's, the whole tail tidy's been modified heavily by me since anyway, but originally it was designed to sit like that and the indicators would bolt in either side. But I moved that bracket, took that bracket off, moved it up there and mounted them so it just came out just beyond the frame. Now I couldn't use that bracket at the time, simply because these indicators, I don't remember what I bought them for. I didn't originally buy them for this bike, but that bracket was already tied up with the indicators on this bike. So what I did is I got a couple of pieces. That's aluminium angle, or if you're American, aluminum angle, with that's got drilled a hole and threaded it there, and it's bolted from underneath the tail section. You can see the new micro LED indicators. Now these were less than £10 off eBay for 4 of them, so a bit of a bargain. Anyway, I've done that both sides, one either side. They're bolted in and then the wiring is spliced into the bike's original wiring. Now at the front I got a bit more creative. What we have there, or what I used there, was I actually had some of these kicking around in my garage. Now that's an aluminium or aluminum steady. It's something that bolts on. It's a handlebar brace, a universal bolt-on handlebar brace. I can't remember why I had these or where I got them from, but I had a couple of these, and that is actually one of these. I cut the end pieces off there, drilled and tapped a hole down the end, then drilled a hole into the side to feed the wires through, and screwed those indicator lights into either end, fed the cable through and spliced it into the bike's wiring. Now, in order to mount it, what I did was I drilled the 2 holes there, and then I counterbored them so that these don't quite sit flush, these cap head bolts, but they're close. And there's a couple of spacers there. That's stainless steel tube. I used 2 slightly longer bolts, and reattached it through the existing holes for the regulator, so it keeps them nicely tucked in, and they're sort of slightly narrower than they were when I had the standard Triumph ones on there. Now again, I did the same sort of thing originally with the front as I did with the back, and this was the bracket that I used on the front. That was bolted through those two, and then the Triumph indicators were bolted into either end, so they stuck out slightly further, but they are slightly bigger, and it worked a treat, until of course I managed to break one. Now we are blessed with programmable indicators on Triumph Scramblers, and probably many other Triumphs as well, and that's the easiest thing in the world, to adjust them to prevent hyperflash. That's quick flashing of your LED indicators. Now from the factory, with the incandescent lamps in there, it's set on type 1. Now the way you do it, and this is where I haven't got enough hands, so I'm going to have to do something with the camera, bear with me. It's a piece of cake to do. You need to press the information button and hold it in, keep holding it in, and turn the ignition on. And then you'll come up on the display. Like I say, factory setting would be type 1. In order to stop hyper flashing on mine, I've got them set on type 4. But to scroll through the types, all you need to do is keep pressing the information button. There we go, 2, 3, 4. And when you've got the one that suits you, press it one more time and it will stay on that setting. It really is that easy. Now these things are brighter than the standard Triumph ones, which still had their incandescent lamps in there. Most people call them bulbs, but us engineers do call them lamps. And that was the only part of the bike that wasn't converted to LED. So I've now got a full LED headlight, again an eBay special, LED indicators up front, and then when you move to the back, we have, this is where more modifications happened, we have LED rear indicators nicely tucked in. And that's originally, this is a Motone tail tidy. I can't remember, it was a long time ago I did that. But straight out of the box, the light actually sticks out the back. So I did a bit of chopping and cutting and got it more flush with the back of the tail section. And I never was a big fan of the Motone light, which was LED. But it didn't have a clear bit at the bottom for illuminating your number plate, and it didn't have an inbuilt reflector. So I got myself a Lucas tail light, which the Motone is very, very similar in shape to. And I got a Lucas tail light, converted it to LED, and put that on, so that looks a lot more original as in old school, than did the Motone one. So the bike is now fully 100% LED, and it really was as simple as that. Anyway, thanks for watching. Give me a thumbs up and a like and a subscribe. If you've got any questions about anything, leave a comment and I'll do my best to answer them. And I'll see you soon. Take care.